This episode of Choosing Your Future is brought to you by WriterLock, WriterLock.com.
Protecting your ideas can be difficult with the internet. Whether you're a songwriter, inventor, author, or screenwriter, WriterLock brings security back into the hands of creators, letting you know who, where, when, and how people are listening and viewing your next big idea. Start sharing securely with WriterLock. Visit WriterLock.com.
What if we told you that dreaming has more to do with your financial success and stability than just about anything? What if dreams were the key to stability? Believe it or not, it's true.
Life is not about you living in the past. It's not about you living in fear. It's about your dreams. It's about what you believe. Life is about you choosing your future.
Lessons for the future begin here.
Hey, welcome to Choosing Your Future. And today we have in the studio Tim Edwards. And he is, matter of fact, we had a great time in the studio last time, and he talked about some people that attended some of his conferences, and I'm sure he'll get into more of that. He'll have some more stories like that. And he just authored a book called Free to Dream, and it actually has to do with finances. And we're going to get into that in just a minute. Before we get started, hey, thank you for listening to Choosing Your Future. We really appreciate it. We are growing, and it's because of you. And keep sharing the podcast. Visit choosingyourfuture.org. There's a lot of stuff on there. You can find out other places to listen. We're on many different podcast avenues. And we just want to thank you. Also, drop us a line if you want to at contact@choosingyourfuture.org. And ask us questions. If you have any comments, love to hear them. We're going to go ahead and get started. And so like I said, we have Tim Edwards here in the podcast studio.
Hello.
And Tim, you've been in banking 21 years, correct?
Something like that.
That's a long time.
Long time.
And so you also just authored a book, and you have a website.
Yes.
What's the website?
8thdaygroup.com.
8th Day Group, is that with the number 8?
Like the number 8. Yeah.
So they don't have to spell out 8. It's just number 8th.
8th.
Okay.
8thdaygroup.com.
We'll have that link. Matter of fact, I'll have that link on the blog section, so that way you can check him out and find out more information about his book. Where we left off, you were talking about a lady that had some dreams. First of all, she just thought she was going to just die here, and then you went to a conference and you started talking about one of the first things to having financial stability and success is you got to have a dream.
Yeah.
Which really that's kind of strange, because finances is more about reality than
You would think.
dreaming.
You would think.
To most people.
To most people, but it's not.
Because most people think, well, I don't have the money to do this.
That's because we're too money oriented. We live for the paycheck. We live for that money. But we were never designed to live that way. We were designed to live by dreams, purpose. And we're all here for a reason. We're all here. We're not here just, to suck wind and die. We are here for a reason. And just like this lady that I'd mentioned, she it was interesting because I began to give the kind of the analogy of what we do normally day to day, which is we get in these routines and dreams. That's where dreams dies, in that routine. And she, I gave the analogy. I said, are you one of those ones that that wake up in the morning, alarm goes off, you wake up, you hit the snooze 10 times, you finally roll out of bed. You take a shower, you do your makeup or you fix your hair, whatever you do. You get in your car, you go the same route to work every day. You work the 8 hours, take your lunch. You eat the same exact thing every day.
Exactly.
And you come on back home, you go the same route back home. You go through your same routine at night, and you do this all over again. And you get caught up in that 9 to 5 because you're living for the dollar. You're living for that paycheck. and you think that is your source. But in all essence, it's the dreams, it's the goals, it's the vision in your life that give you life.
Okay, so I read a book, and in this book, it talked about that daydreaming was huge to people's success. As a matter of fact, it even went on to say that successful people, and I think it's the book, How Successful People Think. I think that was the book. In this book, it went on to say that successful people literally put in their calendar, okay? And some do it twice a week, some do it once a week. They dedicate like 30 minutes just for daydreaming.
Wow.
Okay? These are very successful people because dreams is what causes us to activate, if you will, our purpose.
Oh, yeah.
In other words, it starts activating the will, the emotions, the mind. The first thing people say is, yeah, but I don't have the money to do my dream.
That's exactly it.
But here's what I've always found out, and I've found, this personally has worked for me. Money will always follow vision.
Yep.
Vision doesn't follow money.
Right.
If you've got vision, money tends to follow that.
Oh, yeah.
And again, money is not, it has no opinion. It has no identity except what you give it. If you have $1 and you go buy a candy bar, you just gave it identity.
Yes.
If you spend it on something, clothes, you just gave it identity.
Mm-hmm.
And like we said in the last episode, you know a person by just looking at their bank statement, where they're spending their money. You know all about that person. You know what where they like to eat, you know where they like to shop. So therefore, you know what kind of probably clothes they like. You know what kind of, if they're into sporting, if they're into whatever, gambling or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
I mean, you can almost, I hate to use the word judge, but you can evaluate a person's life based upon that. And so dreams is pretty much the core foundation to get us going, but it takes money to get us going.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting that you said that, use the term identity. You buy something, it gives that dollar, whatever, it gives it identity. In the last episode we talked, and I used the analogy of, it's like owning your own business. And it really is much that way. You think about a business.
Well, there's no more important business than corporate you.
There you go. It has to start there. There is no other business without you. And so by deciding and focusing on what it is that you want to do, your purpose, your dreams, your goals, you setting those things, and then you make every single dollar work for you. You mentioned taking $1 and buying a candy bar. That just gave that candy bar identity. Well, can you imagine if you took that $1 and invested in 401k, or took that $1 and invested in your child's education?
So what you're saying is I have to sacrifice my candy bar.
Unfortunately. No, absolutely not. No.
No, you just offended everybody.
Right. No. And actually, that's the cool thing with budgeting. People, they hear the word budget and they cringe because they've, and a lot of times, how do you feel when you hear the word budget?
Okay, but let's go back to that. Hold that thought, because I've heard you talk about how do you feel about the word budget. Because first of all, dreams just don't happen because you have them.
Correct.
Which means there's got to be sacrifices.
Yes.
Which is something we don't like. I read somewhere where most millionaires have 8 streams of income. Not just one thing happens. So they sacrifice a lot.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of sacrifice.
Yeah.
That has to be made. You may have to give up a latte or a candy bar every now and then.
Right.
But people with dreams tend to be more focused.
Many times, yeah, absolutely. Because you have something to focus on. And I think, one of the other points later on that we'll probably get into in the book that I cover is many times you go through this process. You set your goals, you set your dreams, you begin to develop your blueprint or your budget, and then it takes discipline, and that's a tough one.
That was the word that really stuck out to me, was blueprint. You use the word blueprint when it comes to setting goals. Is that right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So you've got to have a blueprint for your life. Where am I heading? Where am I going? What am I doing? It's not just about saving money. It's about where you're heading with your life.
Yeah. Everybody's got a purpose. Everybody's got a reason to exist. I mean, we're all here for a reason. And it's when you begin to understand that is the case. I think so many people, we it's like we're floating around like helium-filled balloons, kind of just roaming with every, wind, direction of the wind. And we really do have purpose. But we just, many times we don't take the time to dream.
So you talked about budgeting, and many people, that's like a cuss word.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we hate it.
Mm-hmm.
We look at it as restrictive.
Yeah, confining, heavy,
Yeah.
weighted. Yeah.
So talk about that a little bit.
And that's the thing. It's not really at all. When you begin to understand, and again, in this book, we cover this. My goal in this book is to help you to understand that budgeting is bigger than money. Budgeting is something that actually can be very freeing, and it can give you a whole lot of freedom if you would work it, if you'll do it. And yes, that's one of those things where, you mentioned a while ago buying the candy bar. Well, sometimes you have to sacrifice that candy bar. Yes, absolutely you do. But sometimes you don't. And it's all dependent upon how you develop that budget. If it's, if you know that you're going to buy that candy bar once a week, let's say, then budget for it.
A crosswalk
Mm-hmm.
is not designed to restrict you to
Right.
where you want to go. It's designed to protect you to where you want to go.
Yep.
If you get hit in the crosswalk, it's on them who hit you.
Yeah.
You got legal recourse. If you jaywalk because you want to try and take a shorter route or a different route and they hit you, you don't have legal recourse.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
That's it.
And what we have to understand, there is discipline. If you look at any athlete, there's discipline.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Any great athlete, there's discipline. In life, there's discipline.
Yeah.
I think that's in budget. It's a discipline, I guess, but it's part of the blueprint. It's what it tells you, okay, this is part of what we need to go where we need to go.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, the first premise is you dream. Where do we want to go? And then you begin to develop those goals to get you where you want to be. And then, once you develop the goals, now you know where you want to go. Now you can give your money purpose. Now you can give your, every dollar you make now can work for you. And it's all part of that blueprint.
So, number one, dream. This is on the first block, we'll call it, of your book.
Yeah.
Dream.
Yeah.
I mean, dream
big.
Dream big. Go big, go home. Because people are scared to dream big
They are.
because they don't have the finances. But what they don't understand is the dream that starts first.
Yes.
Then develop the goals for those dreams. Now this sets you up to have a blueprint for
Yes.
to develop the budget. Now money's got identity for the dream.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah, correct.
So what's the next step?
Now we're talking about, we're dealing with, so you got your dreams, you got your budget or your blueprint to get you where you want to be. Now you've got the two major ones. That's your pillars. And now we're going to start dealing with discipline. Discipline is one of those things that makes it's tough.
But it's part of life.
It's part of it. You have
Without
to-
it, you don't really have one. You can't go to your future without discipline.
That's it.
Hey, make sure you check out the next episode here on Choosing Your Future.
Thank you for listening to the Choosing Your Future podcast. For more information, please visit choosingyourfuture.org. That's choosingyourfuture.org.